Inside the NBA was covering the game between the Orlando Magic and New York Knicks, and just before it started, they were talking about the Magic specifically. Charles Barkley was impressed, and really the whole crew, I could say, of how great the Magic were doing, given that Paolo Banchero, their best player, was injured. Charles Barkley then started praising Jamal Mosley, the head coach, for doing a great job in making sure that his team was still at the top of the East, despite not having Paolo. Shaq started pushing back and saying, nah, it's not really the coach, it's just that Franz Wagner stepped up. This started a huge debate between, is it the player versus the coaches? And I lean towards Charles Barkley, and especially what Kenny explained as he added more context to this conversation. I'm going to start off with Charles Barkley, then followed by a play that the Orlando Magic ran that led to a basket, which was a really great one and shows how good Jamal Mosley and the coaching staff is. All right, let's get into it.
Wow.
You know what, Ernie, I got to tell you something about this Magic team. This season could have went. Coach Mosley is doing a fabulous job because this team, when you lose your best player, and then they've won 14 out of 15 or 13 out of 14.
12 out of 13.
I mean, they are flat.
Six in a row.
I can't believe they came out after losing their best player. So that tells me the coach is doing a fabulous job. Going out, I think, getting some veteran leadership in KCP.
Jack, you don't believe that?
What I like about the Orlando Magic is that they are at the bottom of the NBA statistically when it comes to three-point shooting. That has not stopped them from achieving the success that they have this regular season. They don't just spread out five guys at each angle of the three-point line and swing, and just hope for a shot to fall, making it very predictable as most offenses in the NBA do today. Pay close attention to the arrow. Anthony Black, Wagner, and Jonathan Isaac are all lined up. Anthony Black comes off a screen from Wagner. Wagner then comes off a screen from Isaac. Wagner sets the screen for the other Wagner, Franz. He then takes the screen and goes all the way to the basket for a good layup. The reason why I'm showing this is because it keeps the defense moving and guessing. Those are two key things, and that doesn't happen in a lot of modern day NBA, since we all know that the ball is just going around the three-point line eventually for somebody to shoot it. So great play call by their head coach, Jamal Mosley, or somebody at the very least in their coaching staff.
Points is up, 3-point percentage up, he's making the right decision. What I really love about his game, if he's not shooting well, he's getting to the foul out. So it has nothing to do with coaching, it's just about the
Of course it has something to do with coaching.
Next man stepping up.
No, that's not, you can't just, no, it ain't no next man step up. That's total BS.
How do you know?
You just can't start, you just can't throw a plug. First of all, there's nobody on that team as good as Paolo Banchero. He can make them championship contenders.
Okay, but we're talking about this kid playing well because
he's playing very well.
This is where Shaq and Charles started getting into it as the conversation heats up. I'll say this in Shaq's defense. It does take somebody who has the talent to put up superstar numbers. It doesn't matter how much you coach somebody. If they don't have the talent, they're not going to do what a Franz Wagner has done, no matter how many times you try to put them in that position. The reason I still agree with Charles Barkley more is because, yeah, you could have a talent like Franz Wagner, but if the other team, the other guys, if you're not getting something out of them that could help a talent like Franz, then your team is going to do bad. And y'all have to remember, too, it's easy for somebody to put up really great numbers on a team that is not doing good. The fact that the other guys are playing at a level enough where the Magic are still at the top of the East, that is more coaching to me. That comes down to players buying into the system and what the coach is saying to them. And you're going to hear Kenny get into that more as I play the rest of these clips.
And you're just wrong.
And I'm not wrong.
Coaches
I got four.
Coaches are important.
You didn't know.
Yeah, Phil Jackson, bro. And you had the two greatest coaches that ever
Did
coached
you watch Phil Jackson coach? Phil Jackson sat his ass down with his legs
I
crossed.
played you before Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson
and we
sat his
got
ass
y'all.
down with his legs crossed and said, figure it out.
Listen,
That's why I know
we
what the
got
hell
y'all
I'm
before
talking
you
about.
got the film.
Coaches are
Phil
important,
Jackson
man.
sat his ass down with his legs crossed and said, figure it out like
No,
that.
he
Yes, he
didn't.
did.
Phil
Yes, he
Jackson
did.
he's in the conversation as
figure it
the
out like
greatest
that.
coach
The
ever.
offense I drew up
You just
from
hate coaches, man.
No, I don't
You
hate
must have been a
coaches.
joy to coach.
You rely on coaches too much. That's why you didn't win. You got to do it yourself. You got to step up.
Very, very important point that Kenny's bringing up when he mentions Phil Jackson. Michael Jordan did not win his first title until Phil Jackson became head coach, along with one of their assistant coaches that Phil brought along, Tex Winter. Tex Winter was the guy who actually invented the whole philosophy behind the triangle offense and really the offense within itself that Phil Jackson ended up implementing. There's a clip somewhere out there of Steve Kerr talking about the triangle offense, and he ends up saying Phil told us that the triangle offense is not for Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. We could run any play, any system, and they'll get theirs. They'll do what they do. But we run the triangle offense for the other guys, for the other role players to excel. This is what Steve Kerr was explaining. This is also the same offense that Phil obviously ran with the Lakers when Shaq and Kobe won their 3 championships in a row. There's so much other examples I could give. Another one would be Mark Jackson with the Golden State Warriors. Prominent players, I believe, like a Draymond Green, Iguodala, talked about how Mark Jackson instilled a lot of confidence in them, especially with Steph and Clay, to shoot the ball, to make them believe, yo, you guys are really some of the greatest shooters in NBA history. Remember, at that time, the thought of just relying on three-point shooting so much to win a championship, it was unheard of. It was still a bit taboo. Mark Jackson was really that pioneer to let them know, I believe in your shooting ability. We're going to do things a bit different. Now you see that every team wants to try to emulate that, but they don't got a Steph Curry or even a Clay.
Kobe Bryant, when he was the great
Yes.
Kobe Bryant, when he's the number one guy, he has so many things in his arsenal that he can go through. He can post you up, he can shoot threes, he can whatever. The guys that are now that not coming in when he's out and someone steps up, they don't have the same arsenal. Like, as good as Wagner is and those guys, they don't have the same arsenal. So coaching has to put you in the right position to score the basketball and to defend the basketball.
Excellent point by Kenny, and this ties into what I was already saying about Steve Kerr telling the story how the triangle offense was really made for the role players, not guys like Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. I want to say this too about Shaquille O'Neal. I've heard him compare himself to Giannis Antetokounmpo in the modern day NBA when people say that he couldn't play in today's league, which I think is false. He would just dominate and probably turn it back around where you need somebody to guard a player like him. But even back in Shaq's days, when he had a point guard, the coach had to emphasize to get the ball to Shaq in the post. So when he compares himself to Giannis, to me, it wasn't 100% accurate, only because Giannis dribbles the ball way more than Shaq ever did. Giannis will get the ball himself and dribble a little bit and then drive to the basket. That wasn't Shaq's game. He needed a system where it was an emphasis. We are giving Shaq the ball down low. If you're the point guard, you're the player on the perimeter, swing it, and find him down low when he's calling for it. That takes your coaches telling your players, this is our superstar. Now, of course, Shaq made it easy, but I'm just saying you still need that emphasis to do it in the first place. I'm going to leave things right there. Hit me up in the comment section with where you stand on this debate. Are you on Shaq's side? It's all about Franz Wagner. Give him the most credit for stepping up and playing like a superstar. Or do you see it from Charles Barkley and Kenny's perspective, where they're saying it's the coaching, the great coaching that put Franz Wagner in this position in order to look good, especially with the other guys on the team, for them to excel and help them? Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, share, and subscribe. And as always, salute for listening. Peace.